Here at Made a Hames Out of It, we find disasters, curses, mysteries and mayhem. And sometimes we like to tell you about those ridiculous little fuck-ups that we all have. The things that aren't entirely catastrophic, but they make you think, why the hell did I do that? We've all been there, so don't be afraid to share with the group. Let me explain the whole Made a Hames Out of It. A hames is a piece of equipment used on horses. It is made from either metal or wood and is attached to the horse's collar. It then distributes weight evenly around the horse's neck and shoulders. Interesting, I hear you say, but what the fudge has that got to do with anything? Well, these hameses are apparently quite tricky to attach or at least fit correctly, and so, many years ago, a saying was born. You made a right hames out of that. And honestly, that fits so perfectly for my ever so interesting family of Hameses, whose lives have often been tainted with ill fate, ironic missed opportunities, eerie cases of bad luck, and an ominous air of being cursed. And, with that in mind, I want to bring you some disasters from around the world, some curses, some misfortune. Are they all just random incidents? Coincidences? Or is something more sinister at play? Hey! It's the Made a Hames Out of It Christmas Special Part 1. The Curse of the Christmas Single. Ooh! Did you know there was such a curse? I've never heard of it before. And I seem to say that a lot about the curses I cover, but I suppose that's what a lot of this is about, learning and discovering. I'm learning just as much as you guys when I make these episodes. But before we get into it, let's see how I made a hames out of it since our last episode. Well, the one thing that springs to mind is when I ordered a 2021 diary, only to have it arrive and find it to be a 2020 diary. And I know it's not a huge deal, but it's the inconvenience of me now having to pack it back up, go through the returns process, print out the label from a dysfunctional printer that I have serious issues with. Honestly, that thing's going out the window. Then I have to go and queue up at the post office, potentially catching COVID, and then wait 3 weeks to get my money back, but still have to pay the postage for the return. Urgh! And I could blame the company that sent it to me for sending me a 2020 diary when I ordered a 2021 diary. But when I looked back on my Amazon order, I had ordered a 2020 diary. However, I had searched for a 2021 diary, so I'm kind of blaming Amazon a little bit. I also had Pauline get in touch to tell me how she's made a hames out of it this week. Having spent all day Thursday thinking it was Wednesday, which is the day before bin day, she put her bin out only to find it the next day still full where she'd left it. And because the day was not Wednesday, it was Thursday. Yeah, so she's now worried that her neighbours think she's lost the plot. Well, I happen to be one of Pauline's neighbours, and I can say with honesty that I'm sure she's crackers, but we still love her. I also want to quickly mention Holly. Hi, Holly, who was listening to the Mother Shipton episode and messaged to tell me that whenever her and her sister drove past it when they were little, her sister always thought it said Mother Shrimpies, and I just love that. What an entirely different story that would have been if she'd been known as Mother Shrimpy. She was a mother figure to all the little shrimps in the River Nid that would come to her for relationship advice and how to get the best tendrils. Is that what they have? Tendrils? They do now. Mother Shrimpy's Cave, where crustaceans flocked from miles around to seek counsel with their saviour. Mother Shrimpy. So, let's see what this Christmas curse is all about. We all know about the Christmas single. It's a big deal, or at least it used to be. I don't actually listen to the charts anymore, so I don't know if it's a big deal. But who will be number one at Christmas? Big deal all round. At least it is in the UK. Or was for me, but not. Anyway, it is. It's the time of year when artists come creeping out of their mansions and release an entire album of festive tunes for us. Michael Bublé, Cliff Richard, you don't hear a peep out of them until it's December. I'm pretty sure that Cliff Richard is still alive. I did ponder this when I was writing this episode, and I did think I'm going to have to check that, and I didn't. check that. I'm sure he's still alive. Okay. The UK singles chart started back in 1952. That is when my mum and dad were born, so quite a long time ago. And chart positions are determined from record sales and still are today, obviously. How else would they be determined? I don't know. The Christmas chart contest didn't really get going until the 70s, when, in 1973, Wizard and Slade released deliberate Christmas songs with I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day and Merry Xmas Everybody, respectively. So Wizard, I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day, Slade, Merry Xmas Everybody. It was Slade that took the top spot that year, and so it continues. The Beatles are the only artists to have had 4 Christmas number ones, 3 of which were consecutive years, and in 1963 and 1967 they had chart positions 1 and 2, and they weren't even Christmas songs. This made me wonder if they've ever released an actual Christmas song. I know that McCartney had Wonderful Christmas Time and Lennon had Happy Xmas, War Is Over, but did they ever do any as a band? Well, apparently they did. They made some special recordings of Christmas songs for their fan club members, which they would send out to them. So that's pretty cool, and I'm sure that they are now worth millions. So if you've got one of those, get it on eBay or not, whatever. So I had a quick scan down the Christmas number 1 chart from 1973, as that's when it technically became a thing, just to see which actual Christmas songs were actual Christmas songs. And I don't want any arguments about what constitutes as a Christmas song, but obviously it's got to be about Christmas to be a Christmas song. And just whilst we're on the subject, Die Hard is a Christmas film. But back to songs. 1973 and 1974, Christmas songs. Merry Xmas Everybody and Lonely This Christmas by Mud. Yes, that's right. It'll be lonely this Christmas. I don't think that's how they sang it, but that's the Elvis Presley version, isn't it? Yes, I do believe it is. So 1973, 1974, Merry Xmas Everybody, Lonely This Christmas. Then it's Bohemian Rhapsody the year after, which I'm sure is 1975, because that's after 1974. And Bohemian Rhapsody is not a Christmas song by any stretch of the imagination. It is a brilliant song. I will give it that. But not Christmas, is it? No. So then it just gets a bit silly. There are a few Christmas songs thrown in, but not enough for my liking. I know there are no rules that say the Christmas number 1 has to be about Christmas, but there should be. There is a table on Wikipedia, and by a table I mean a collection of information, not just like a coffee table. So there's a table on Wikipedia called List of UK Singles Charts Christmas Number 1s, just in case you want to look at it yourself. Anyway, let's get to the matter at hand. The curse of the Christmas single. Let's see how this came about and who was actually cursed. My first port of call here was Bing Crosby. It would seem that he fell afoul of the Bowie curse. Now, the Bowie curse is something that I had never heard of before, so this was quite interesting to read. Bowie performed live with Mark Bolan just days before Mark died in 1977. He then recorded Little Drummer Boy with Bing Crosby in September 1977, and Bing died a month later. The curse is said to have also been responsible for Freddie Mercury's death, as Bowie sang a duet with him in 1981. However, Mercury didn't die until 1991, so the curse probably got bored or waylaid. I don't know. It all sounds a bit suspect to me, and this in particular seems more to do with Bowie than with Christmas, but I'm just going off what the internet tells me. So prior to his duet with David Bowie, Bing had had success with White Christmas. We all know White Christmas. It became the second biggest selling single of all time, behind the first being Candle in the Wind by Elton John. Mr. Crosby then went on to record no less than 44 Christmas singles, trying to claw back that Christmas success. And unfortunately, he didn't. But he did make some cracking Christmas songs, so I wouldn't entirely call him cursed. Next on the list is Dominique by The Singing Nun. You might think that you don't know this song. I thought so too until I searched for it, and I've definitely heard it before. I'm not going to sing it because I can't remember how it goes, but it does have the words Dominique in it, obviously. And it's actually a really beautiful song, and it reached number 4 in the UK and topped the US Christmas charts by remaining at number 1 for 4 weeks in 1963. It even stopped the excellent Louie Louie from getting the top spot. And even though I haven't the foggiest what that dude is singing about, that is a fantastic song. So well done to those singing nuns. This obviously isn't all there is to this tale, because otherwise it would have no business being on this podcast. At least not in this episode. Well, not anywhere. Well, okay. Anyway, the success that came from this single led to tragedy for lead nun vocalist Janine Deckers. She's sometimes named as Janine and sometimes as Jean, but she was previously Sister Luke Gabrielle. I think that is how I am saying those names. That is how I'm saying those names, but I don't know if that's how they are supposed to be said. She went back to being called Jean or Janine after leaving the convent and pursuing a music career. Her success was short-lived, and she released singles such as Glory Be to God for the Golden Pill, which is a really catchy title and was obviously about birth control. And she released another single called Sister Smile Is Dead. Her music and lifestyle was seen as rebellious because she became very open and honest in regards to her sexuality, and I imagine that she hoped to just live a music-filled, happy life. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. She fell into financial difficulties after the Brussels authorities demanded tax payments from profits of Dominique, but the convent and record company had already taken a large percentage of the royalties. She then ended up in a suicide pact with her partner, Anne Burchett, leaving a suicide note which read, "We are going together to meet God our Father. He alone can save us from this financial disaster." So that is extremely sad, because it seems as though she'd discovered this amazing talent that she had. Well, not discovered, she probably already knew she could sing, but then it had been out to the world after she'd been a nun for so long. Thought that she could have this lovely singing career, and it ended up all going wrong for her. So it's really sad, because she does have a beautiful voice. You should definitely check out the song Dominique by The Singing Nun. It's really pretty, and you will have definitely heard it before. I thought I didn't know what it was until I searched for it, like I said. Okay, number 3. This was a list of 10. I haven't numbered them, but I'm pretty sure this is number 3. I haven't lost count already. John Lennon and the single Happy Xmas, War is Over seems to be his downfall. In September 1971, it's weird to think of John Lennon having a downfall. I mean, obviously, the biggest downfall was him dying, but in 1971, the album Imagine was number 1 here in the UK and across the pond in the States. Weirdly, just 3 months later, his Christmas single Happy Xmas bombed in the US. It did later make the UK top 5, but the curse had clearly already begun to tighten around him. Lennon fell into a depressive cycle of drink and drugs, and he was also in a 4-year-long battle with US immigration. Deportation proceedings were initiated in 1972 for him and Yoko Ono, his wife, and the deportation proceedings were based on drugs charges which were brought against him in London in 1968. Lennon actually won his case and was given permanent residency status in the United States in 1976. Unfortunately, just 4 years later, on the 8th of December 1980, John Lennon was shot and killed in New York City. Merry Christmas, everybody. This has to be one of the best known Christmas songs in the Western world, if not the entire world. Prior to the Christmas curse getting hold of Prior to the Christmas curse getting hold of Noddy, and that sentence threw me. Prior to the Christmas curse getting hold of Noddy and the rest of the gang, no, not Big Ears, the rest of Slade, it's funny how their name is already quite Christmassy. The band name Slade, like a sleigh. That doesn't make sense, though, does it? No. Okay, forget I said that. But prior to their seasonal success, they had held 5 number ones from their 7 singles, so not too shabby. Their aforementioned Christmas hit would be the last time they would ever top the charts, but not for lack of trying. They had other Christmas hits such as My Oh My in 1983 and All Join Hands in 84. Yep, I've never heard of them either. However, I had only just been born. Noddy now has to deal with the incessant yells of "It's Christmas!" whenever he walks down the street. Although I'm sure the royalties help cushion the blow. Wizard were well known for their hit singles Angel's Fingers and See My Baby Jive, before their Christmas success with I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. Can you imagine if we had Christmas every day? What an entirely stupid concept. The financial, emotional and environmental impact that would have on the world. I cannot think of one possible way that would be a good idea. We'd all be dead within a week. In fact, no, we wouldn't, because it would be impossible. We'd have Christmas with our presents and food, etc., then not have the time or facilities to buy presents and food for the next day of Christmas. Sure, we could stretch the food out for a few days and hold back some presents, I suppose, but eventually we'd just run out of things and you need to buy more things, which we couldn't do because it's Christmas and everything is closed. And many people would have run out of money within a month because nobody's going to work because, again, it's Christmas. And if you're thinking we could order from Amazon, you're wrong, because we wouldn't have any deliverers. Because, yep, you guessed it, it's Christmas. My God, I've turned into Noddy Holder. Whoa, back to Wizard. Now, I didn't realise that they were only active from 1972 to 1975. However, I don't know why I would have realised that, because all I know of Wizard is that they released their Christmas song. That was in 1975. They released the ridiculously titled I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. Nobody wishes it could be Christmas every day. It entered the charts at number 4, and they wouldn't reach higher in the charts again. Roy Wood, the lead singer, who had left ELO to form Wizard, went on to form Wizzo Band, and also released singles as Roy Wood's Helicopters. But ultimately, the end came after their Christmas success. Since 2011, though, the single has been in the UK Top 40 and in the Top 20 since 2017. So it's not all doom and gloom. Okay, I think there is a good place to break for part 1, and I will be back tomorrow with part 2.